Hello guys, welcome to our new video tutorial series of computer networking and cybersecurity. So in this video we will cover about domain name system which is called DNS, the phone book of the internet. As you already heard that name of DNS, it's a very famous name in computer networking and it's commonly used for like phone book of the internet. So as a human being, it's so hard to remember all the phone numbers of your relatives, your friends, your family members. So how we do that? We just simply buy a telephone directory and just store the name with their alphabets. For example, if you want to save the name of Rahat in your phone directory, how you do that? You just simply go to the alphabet R and save the name for the Rahat and save their phone number. So you don't need to, remember all the phone numbers of your relatives, your friends, your family members. You simply just go to your phone directory and just save the name with the alphabet R. Same as DNS work in the computer networking system, you don't need to remember the long IP addresses of the websites. You just simply remember the web page name. For example, if we want to go to www.google.com, what we do? We just simply type www.google.com. So we don't need to remember the IP address behind the google.com. So this is the domain name system used by that. Otherwise, if we have don't DNS in our computer networking or in the era of cybersecurity, so we have to remember the long IP addresses and we have to write it down somewhere because you cannot remember the long IP addresses from different websites. So domain name system, help us in so many ways. So domain name system like is a phone book from the internet. It translates human readable domain like www.google.com into machine readable IP address like as I told you before. So this is like a seamless connectivity for the users, so they cannot uh, need to remember the long IP addresses. So as a client, you simply just type your URL on the Google or any browser, and then it went to the DNS server, and then DNS server uh, configure that which IP address belongs to that address, and then it will return the web page for the client. So these are the two components, core components of DNS. One is distributed database of name servers, a global network for interconnected servers, and the second thing is application layer protocol that operates the application layer for communication between clients and server. So these are the two main components of DNS. One is database name servers that helps all the global networks around the world and connected each other. The second thing is application layer protocol, that is like the one of the layer protocol that communicates between client and server. And there are so many ways between client and server. It went to the transport layer which uses TCP, UDP, and then it went to the link layer, then it went to the network layer, then it went to the physical layer. So these are the five components that used by the application layer, but we are not do that in our video. We will cover this in our next video, but for now we just stay with the DNS. So these are the different types of DNS servers around the world. The root DNS servers that direct queries to top level domains around the world. And the famous TLD servers you already know, which is .com, .org, .edu, and many more. But these are the most commonly used DNS servers. And the authoritative DNS servers provide hostname to IP address mapping. So these there are some also DNS servers that belongs to different countries and regions. For example, in US, they are .us, in UAE it's .ua, in Pakistan it's .pk, in India it's .in, and many more. There are so many, around like 13 global DNS servers around the world, but on the country wise and the region wise, there are many more according to each country. So this is the perfect diagram that shows how the DNS server works. So client just type on Google example.com and it went to the recursive resolver. I will tell you what is recursive resolver is. So it went to the TLD name server, which is top level domains, and as you already see, it's .com server, so it went to the .com server, and then it went to the root name server and authoritative name servers, and then it will resolve the query for client and give him the response from the web page. So we have like two different types of query resolution process. One is iterative query and another one is recursive query. So in iterative query, client requires multiple DNS servers step by step until resolution. So in iterative query, client just type www.google.com and then DNS will send client to the .com server, and then client will have to do all these steps, and then client will type .com, and then that .com server helps the client to get back the IP address of that address, and then it went back to client and it will show the web page the client requested for. So the other thing is recursive. Recursive DNS server resolves all the query fully for the client and return the result. So it does not, you know, go to client and tell them like you have to process the other .com server. It just resolve all the query for client itself. It in If you compare both queries, the recursive query will load so much on DNS server because it just solve all the query for client itself. So there are so much burden on the DNS server, and we can use that as well, but the iterative query is the best. You in globally, you if like there are thousands of millions of requests, and if you solve by recursive queries, it will be a mess by the DNS server. So we use the iterative queries for that. And we have some DNS caching and performance. As you already have heard, the caching and the performance. Caching mechanism temporarily store resolve queries to improve response time. So what DNS caching is to, like, they just, for example, if customer requested www.google.com and it resolved the query for a person A, and the, for example, the person B also requires the same web address, so the DNS server don't need to do again these follow these steps. It just cache that resolve queries in their server and just return that because the web page would be the same, and the performance will increase a lot because you don't need to resolve the queries from the step 1 to the end of the step. So it's help a lot. It improves efficiency and scalability, distributed nature supports reliability, caching and load balancing optimize performances. There are some uh, disadvantage as well in DNS caching, like for example, if the data that the customer requested is outdated, or the time their thing is time to live, for example, it just expired the data which we store in the DNS server. So we have to compromise that as well, but we can solve them with the new methods which I will tell you in my next video. So how does the security in DNS work? So these are the common threats like DNS spoofing, where customer where the hackers usually want to hack the customer information. For example, if customer requested something and the hacker wants to hack that information, and the caching poisoning, as I already told you, like data has been stored with the web page, and if someone try to you know s- do some, like for example, if customer requested for www.google.com and you store that data in your cache memory, but the hackers trying to load the web page with their own web page. For example, they want to load that web page from www.xhacker.com, for example, and they just change the IP address. And so whenever the customer wants to access the google.com, they just go through that web page. So that's a mess. The another thing is DOS attacks, which is most commonly like the hackers just send thousands or millions of queries to DNS server, and when DNS server was not able to respond to that, the DNS server will crash, and all the system has been compromised. So we can like enhance that security features by DNSEC, which is domain name system security extension. So basically it ensures authentication and messages integrity. So we just store all the information with the authorized signature by the client or by the server admin, so like nobody can hack that. So this is the DNS hierarchy, which is the root DNS server, the main server. Then on the parent side, there's a TLD server like .com, .org, .edu, and .government. And then we have the authoritative DNS server that resolve query for like google.com and transfer it to the IP address. So these are the DNS server, some core features and components, and how we resolve the query for DNS server. I hope you understand it very well. It's not that difficult according to all the topics we have in the computer networking. The DNS is the most basic common question asked by interviewer, and it was good. Like you can just simply need to understand these core concepts and you are good to go. So thank you for subscribing, and if you like this video, please subscribe more and comment as well if you want to get new videos from these topics or any other topics. Thank you so much.